Sometimes at work, doesn't it just suck when you're trying to work through emails? In many organizations, I believe that there's an over reliance on email communication to accomplish tasks. Look, it's not that uncommon for many leaders in organizations to almost rely exclusively on email in their business. If you're running your team or your business exclusively through email, I can tell you this, it's not effective. I've got a couple email best practices that I think you need to follow. The first is that you shouldn't constantly review your email. You should only check your email a few times a day. My approach is that I check it maybe first thing in the morning around 9 o'clock. I'll check it maybe before lunch, and then I'll check it at the end of the day. Therefore, I'm not responding to every single email that flies into my inbox because it's not meant to be an instant messaging service. So then I do this process where I basically scan, delete, sort, and respond. It's a 4-step process that's worked well for me. Basically, from a scan perspective, it's just that. I look at my email inbox. I see if there's anything from anyone who maybe requires a more immediate attention or maybe a more thought-out response. Next, I delete quickly whatever I think that's not valuable. Like, as I scan through these emails quickly, I determine if there's something that I actually need to do something with or not. My goal is to clear it out of my inbox as fast as possible because I don't want to deal with it. It's junk. Then I do a sort. Is there things that I can just basically sort or file away, put into a folder, so I can either refer to it if I need to down the line, so it's out of my inbox, I don't have to action it. Next, I respond. I quickly then respond to any emails that need to be taken care of. Once they're dealt with, again, it's deleted away or it's filed away. The goal, again, is to get to zero inbox to help me have less in my inbox in general. So speaking of a zero inbox, my goal, like I said, is to always get there. There are days where it's tougher to do, right? If you got meetings, interruptions, you're maybe at a conference or event, but that's my goal, is to get to zero as close as possible, because that's going to help me feel more in touch with what I need to do. It's going to help me feel more organized. In coaching many other people throughout my career to basically become more effective, become more productive, I always discuss the importance of limiting distractions. And I think a lot of people, they get overwhelmed by their email inbox because there's too much in there. And it is due because to a lack of, I think, good organizational skills. That's why I really try to file or delete things away as quick as possible and get them out of my inbox. Because when you have less there that are visible, there's less distractions. It doesn't take you as long to find what you need. So I always advocate to try to touch an email maybe once, maybe twice max, because a lot of people are starting to use their email as almost like a to-do list. At least that's how I do it as well. Because if there's something left in my inbox, I know I need to do something with it. Once I'm finished with it, it's out of sight, out of mind, and I don't have to think about it again. So the more you try and focus on having zero inbox, the more it forces you to act, and it saves you time and ultimately gets you more organized. What also helps to keep you more organized, and I talked about a little bit about this in an earlier lesson on productivity, is that you got to use those email rules. You got to establish some rules to help you get through some of the insane amount of emails that come through. I can manage my inbox quite well because I'm filtering automatically emails to other folders before I even have to look at them. I have set up the right rules to give me the confidence and the peace of mind to know that these are emails from this particular, whether it's a distribution list, certain subject lines, that are not ones that I need to action right away. Now, I'll tell you, not every rule is going to capture every scenario, but as you go through your career, as you continue to use email, you'll find that there's some patterns, and it's going to help you identify what rules need to be created or not. The other thing that I do quite often is I'm unsubscribing as well. If I'm getting a lot of emails from, say, companies that are trying to pitch me services, like as a CEO and as a coach and consultant, I get a lot of emails where people have got my email from whether it's my websites or different forums or events that I've attended, and they start contacting me trying to put me into a sequence or try to sell me something. Well, if I don't see any value in that, I am unsubscribing as soon as possible. I'm constantly unsubscribing. Every week I focus on trying to unsubscribe, again, to cut back on the amount of emails that I will get. So it limits what you're looking at, and it really helps. If you think about when COVID-19 first happened, there were a lot of people who started getting an influx of emails from companies that they didn't even realize that they even had their email list. I know I myself had that, because companies were reaching out saying that, you know, they're here for you, or they are trying to tell about their health and safety protocols that they've put in place. And so that gave me a good push to unsubscribe from companies that I had no idea they still had my email. The last thing I do when it comes to emails is I make sure that I actually don't have any notifications on with my phone for emails. I used to have notifications, so every time then a beep or ding vibration would go off of my phone, I'd be like, oh, now I gotta look at it. Now I don't. I actually have all notifications turned off for all social media, all email. I think it's a huge sense of relief, to be honest with you, because you're not tied to your phone. It's going to make it a lot easier if you do that. And it actually helps you out from your team perspective as well. Because if every time you got an email, you responded right away, your team is going to pick up that habit and they're going to think that they need to do it as well. You actually create a less flexible, I would say, environment for your team by always responding to email right away. So if you learn from some of these email best practices, I think you can take your performance and your productivity to the next level as you continue to try and become more of a game changer.